All right, everyone. The New York City mayoral race continues, and Cuomo is now leading the charge. Cuomo, who has his own problems, let's be perfectly honest, is leading resistance against Mamdani, coming out from, well, he's not a moderate Democrat, but he's not a socialist at the very least. He's not a commie. He's just close to being a commie. He's trying to undo Mamdani's bid by going to the Hamptons and asking people with second homes to switch their registration to New York in order to vote in the mayoral election. This is, by the way, a good idea. I mean, it's politically strategic, makes sense. Cock-blocking communists is always a good decision, and Mamdani is absolutely insane. In the end, though, we win either way. I'll try to explain how. If Cuomo is successful in cock-blocking Mamdani, then you get something at least approximating sane leadership by New York City standards. I've spoken with several New Yorkers on this issue, and none of them support Mamdani. I'm not surprised that anyone from New York that watches my material would support him. I'd be surprised if they did. But in the end, there is literally a resistance movement against him because so many people are frightened about what will happen if he takes office. Considering the fact that he's suggesting that there should be grocery stores run by the government, which has been tried and failed over and over again in communist regimes, by the way. The fact that he's considering rental freezes, which have been tried before, including in the United States, and they don't work. They doesn't work at all. Considering the fact that he seems not to have any respect for the concept of private property, in other words, among other things, this man is a communist. Mamdani is a literal communist. When he's quoting, if somebody is quoting Marx and saying we need government-run grocery stores and rental freezes, they are a communist. It's like that old How to Spot a Communist video from the 1950s. You know, if they're haranguing about unionization, they might be a communist. And, so on and so on forth. He's not just a socialist. He's beyond that. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. While I do not like Bernie Sanders, I do not believe that he has ever suggested that we have government-run grocery stores. And he honeymooned in the Soviet Union, just to be clear, back in the 1970s. So, when you're to the far left of Bernie Sanders or even AOC, you might be a communist. I would say that that pretty much fits the description. So now there's a resistance movement against him, where people are saying, okay, the risk is too grave to allow this to continue. And this is the big political story of the year at the moment. Mamdani is gobbling down the headlines almost like Donald Trump does. Thankfully, he's getting a lot of negative attention. All the headlines about Trump are negative, but Mamdani, he's so far left that even parts of the legacy media are questioning it. But if he wins, we also win anyway. New York City will become a shithole. And it'll serve as an example of how socialism and communism don't work. Once again, in fact, it could end up turning New York City blue, red, which would be absolutely hilarious. New York might lash back out at him when he inevitably embezzles more money from people upstate. He's going to drive up the red vote there because Albany and New York City have been doing that for a long time. New York City is such a tourist draw that Albany basically tells the rest of the state, hey, pile money into this city because otherwise, having farms and small towns and stuff like that covering 95% of our state, you can all fuck yourselves. That's what they've been told for a long time. Imagine that the tribute paid to the great Mammon is doubled or something like that. That's what Mamdani is gonna go for. If you're gonna have government-run stores and shit like that, which will price out, by the way, private businesses, then you're gonna end up having siphon more money from out of New York City, because you're not gonna have anywhere else to actually get it. Not without like federal subsidies, and you ain't getting them with a socialist administration when Trump happens to be the president, I don't think that that's going to be included within the budget. Uh, Ironically, Trump being from New York City, actually. Uh, this is a crazy situation where somebody who is spouting off the most inane ideas, virtually all of which have been tried before and failed over and over again, like the subsidized grocery stores and stuff like that, you've got a situation where people would have to be bonkers to vote for him, but it looks like Mamdani might very well win. Now, if he does, then we'll have years of laughter at all of his failings, of which there will be many. And hopefully that will finally wake up people in and around New York City to the threat of far leftism. And if New York City lurches even slightly to the right, then New York State could be in play in 2028. So the Democrats that are, whipping up the flames of passion for Mamdani. Oh, he's young, he's charismatic. We need Mamdani. Be careful what you wish for. Ultimately, for your political party, it would be better for him to lose. In the end, playing the long game as opposed to the short game. Short term, it's good if he loses because he's going to be a disaster for New York City. You look at his policy statements, it's quite clear. He's quoting Karl Marx and shit like that, for one thing. And there are like 10,000 issues with him. Short term, it's best that he loses. Long term, it would be better if he wins because it will serve as a brutal example of how far leftism goes sour very quickly. It's like leaving a bowl of yogurt out in the hot sun for a few hours. Try tasting it after that. Mmm, yummy. That's how Mamdani is going to go over. He'd have a brief period where he would enjoy reasonable approval. He'll crash and burn the economy of New York City. If you instituted, for example, government-run grocery stores subsidized at taxpayer expense, it'll very quickly become unpopular because they're going to be ghost town ghettos, basically, that'll be looted over and over again. People will complain about the new taxes, which you will have to impose all around the state, not just in New York City. Quality will probably be lower because there's no profit incentive. And then you'll be outpricing local businesses. You're going to put a bunch of self-employed people who have small businesses out of business. Family-owned restaurants and shit like that will begin to dry up. New York City will die effectively. I have no doubt if he's elected that he'll be a single-term mayor. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. I also think it would be catastrophic for the Democratic Party in the midterms, but they're not playing the long game. They're playing the short game. Oh, we need this firebrand leftist. Yeah, try and groom him for like a gubernatorial run or something like that and see how well it goes over. Be wonderful. That's about all. Peace out.